think we all remember Dino Nuggets, both a childhood classic and a key to a femboy's heart. Despite their praise though, I don't have any strong affinity to them. While I love their cute shapes and tearing their heads off, they always tasted kinda odd. My goal today is to recreate a better version of them without burning my kitchen down, but first, let's try the original because it's been years since I last had them. Okay, so luckily I was able to find this small box of Dino Bites at Target. Unfortunately, it is like the healthy whole grain version, but I'm going to assume they're roughly the same. What's nice about them, besides being cute and fun to play with, is how easy they are to make. All you gotta do is bake them for 10 minutes at 430, so I'll be right back. Okay, initial impressions. They do smell pretty good, but the outer breading is a bit soggy. I'm not sure if it's because of the brand or if I did something wrong. Here's a quick cross section before trying. I mean, they're edible. They don't taste strange like I remembered, which is good, but they are very bland. I think the most challenging aspect of this will be replicating the shapes rather than improving the taste, so let's move on. To start, you want to first grind up 1 pound of chicken. Unfortunately, I don't have a meat grinder, except, you know. So I'm going to grind them in small batches with a mini food processor. Is it weird to cut raw meat with scissors, by the way? I don't know why, but I have a feeling I'm making at least some people upset. Also, if you think about it, aren't Dino Nuggets literally made out of dinosaurs? Since chickens are considered dinosaurs, right? We're just mashing them up and shaping them into other dinosaurs. Kinda messed up in a way. Once you're done, you can begin preparing the rest of the meat mixture. Start with 1/4 cup of panko breadcrumbs. Mine says it's Japanese style, which I have no clue what that means, but I can only find this one and I'm going to assume that it's the same as normal breadcrumbs. Then add in 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of paprika, 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, and 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder. Don't have any onion powder, so I'm just going to add in some extra garlic. Then mix everything a little bit, and finally add in a 1/4 cup of milk. If only I had a cat boy to clean this up for me. Let me try one more time. Okay, once you finally get your milk added, mix everything together, clean up the mess from your defective milk carton, and add the mix with the ground chicken until fully combined. Oh, and please close your eyes and enjoy this relaxing ASMR of stirring meat together. Once everything's well mixed, grab a baking pan and line it with parchment paper. A trick I learned was rubbing butter or spraying oil at the bottom of the pan to help the parchment paper adhere and stay in place. Once you're done, you can begin adding in your chicken mix. The recipe recommends it to be about a 1/2 inch tall, just so that it isn't too thick or thin while baking the nuggets. Make sure to flatten the chicken before covering it with a second piece of parchment paper on top. Then stick it in the freezer and wait roughly 30 minutes to an hour. The reason we're doing this is so that's easier to work with when we're cutting out shapes later. In the meantime, while the chicken is still freezing, I'm going to start preparing the breading just to save a little bit of time. Start off by measuring out 1 cup of panko breadcrumbs, a 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour, a 1/2 teaspoon of paprika, and a 1/2 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. I don't have any Parmesan cheese with me, so to make up for the saltiness, I'm going to be adding in a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Now, everything is going super well so far, until I decide to, let's just say, make a modification to the recipe. For now, I'll just say that eggs should not be mixed with the breading, and I'll show you why this is an issue a bit later. I still have to wait for the chicken to freeze, but there is still one issue that I need to deal with, which is the lack of any dino-shaped cookie cutters like the recipe uses. My plan was to make cardboard molds from printout dinosaurs and an obligatory blowhive, but I got lazy, so I just use them as references. Okay, that's enough arts and crafts. The ground chicken is just hard enough to work with, so I begin using a plastic knife and attempt cutting out the first dinosaur. And it's just use your imagination, please. Oh, and before I continue cutting out more shapes, let me go grab the breading from the fridge real quick. Here, we're going to take a quick detour into Psychology 101 as I describe the 5 stages of grief, for no particular reason, of course. First, there's denial. You see, despite adding 4 whole eggs into the breading, it should still work, right? Just forcibly stick it onto the meat, it should be fine. Next, we have anger, which I take out on the globules of breading by throwing them around while freaking out. Then we have bargaining. Maybe there is a way to fix this irreversible mistake. What if I just mash it all together, rebake it back into a bread, and grind it up into crumbs? I think I've made edible burnt fish gravel. Now they're hard and kinda cracker-like, similar to those things you put on salad toppings. I mean, it's an improvement, but that's not saying much. Just go and try making a couple of nuggets and see how they turn out, so be right back. Oh gosh, so they might look okay on camera, but in person they kind of remind me of the ice cream drumsticks with the almond toppings. I guess I just have to try it. Okay, so what sucks is that the chicken itself actually tastes pretty good. It's juicy and the paprika and salt are a big improvement. As for texture though, it's not good. It's basically like eating graham crackers at this point. Even compared to the original, they kind of look like they caught some kind of disease or something. At least I was able to make some fun shapes. Here's an attempt at a blow high. I was really hoping to finish this today, but it's late and I'm out of breadcrumbs. Also, there's no way I'm using the breading from today. So, I guess I'm just going to pack up everything and see you tomorrow. Okay, let's finish this. Just to recap the breading ingredients, mix together panko breadcrumbs, paprika, salt, onion powder if you have it, I guess pepper now, and somehow I forgot the flour and garlic powder this time. I swear there is something wrong with me. At least this time I remembered not to add eggs to the breading, so I guess that's something. Because I left the chicken in the freezer overnight, I'm going to have to use an actual knife this time cause it's a lot tougher to cut. Now, would I recommend this? No, I wouldn't. Besides having to constantly refreeze the chicken, you also risk losing your fingers, which I guess might be worth it for chicken nuggets. Anyways, if you're actually going to do this, just order yourself some Dino cookie cutters and it will save you a lot of trouble. After you get your desired shape, the rest is pretty simple. Just dip the chicken in the egg wash, coat both sides with breading, and spray on oil to develop a better crisp. Put the nuggets onto a pan, preferably lined with parchment, and bake at 375 for 15 to 18 minutes. Also be sure to flip halfway through so both sides are evenly baked. Okay, so here's the first batch. The texture has definitely improved from the first attempt and is more light and crispy like it's supposed to be. The chicken itself is about the same, which isn't a bad thing. I think I'm going to re-add the flour since there were some bald spots on the nuggets. Alright, so before I begin, I came up with this last minute idea of making a large Dino nugget because I don't want to stay here for another hour cutting tiny nuggets and I think it would be pretty funny. Luckily it is a lot easier and more forgiving to make. If you want to do this, I recommend first tracing the shape you want with the tip of the knife before cutting away any chunks. Also, you can mold the edges with your hands to get a cleaner shape. I'm just going to toss him into the oven really quick and see how he turns out. So, let me introduce you to my first and final son. His name is Philip. He's a T-Rex and a very handsome boy, so you better not be making fun of his oddly shaped tail. And let's just keep it on its good side for now. I think the flour and extra oil really helped with the outer crust, and if you're wondering why my hoodie's blue now, let's just say I accidentally oiled myself up and the entire kitchen counter after trying to use oil in a spray bottle. Before I murder him though, I am going to use up the rest of the chicken using the same steps, except this time I'll be dipping both sides in some shallow oil instead of using a spray bottle. So, I'll see you when I'm done. Remember how I said I'd only have one son? Well, this is Lily. She is my first and final daughter. She is a flying dinosaur thing that was involved in an accident. I also made a mini version of Philip, that long-necked dinosaur, somehow a worse blowhigh, and some rectangles. Time to do a final taste test. Yep, I think this is as good as it's going to get for me. The outside is crunchy and everything's a lot more flavorful. The only thing I might do differently is adding more spices or seasoning to the breading, but I am happy that's just done. I'm gonna go crash out now, so thanks for watching.